What's up, YouTube? Today I decided I wanted to do a type of AMA, but styled where I can have people ask me questions on Twitter and then I'll reply to them in video format. That way they can get, my tone, my body language, more of my own opinion instead of a typed out opinion. Let's get into it. The Hunter SSB asks, how do you deal with mentality during frustrating matchups? Most of the time I know what matchups are frustrating beforehand, and I have an idea of what things I can try doing during the matchup, but if it doesn't work, I just know that it's a tough matchup. I don't take it too personally. Shuna Wo asks, do I think Sheik holds a good place in the meta right now? Do you think there's more to be optimized about her? There's a bit more to be optimized about her, but more importantly, I think it's a phrase I call simple Sheik. Simple Sheik does really good against a lot of really good characters, and I think most Sheiks kind of just have to adopt that type of playstyle. It's Dopamine asks, what archetypes of characters do I think get better or worse at lower and higher levels, and what archetype matchups do I think change? The easiest answer here is the lightweights are really bad at lower levels and the heavies are really good at lower levels, and that changes very rapidly, mainly because it's easier to make mistakes with heavies, while it's more risky to make mistakes with lightweights. Kind of how it's always been. Noble Peace Prize asks, how do I feel now that Makoto has taken my spot as the #1 Sheik? I'm very happy that I can learn from another Sheik player, honestly. TechFest asks, do I believe that solo Sheik could win a major one day? Especially considering how much effort the player has to put in? Yeah. You need a really good bracket, but with the more prevalent characters nowadays, it's becoming easier to get a really good bracket. Sheik has good matchups. The effort is kind of just like, you destroy the matchups, doesn't matter that much. Viram asks, I'm watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, what I like and dislike about the main character Jaden Yuki. I don't like that I feel like I barely see the elemental heroes now that I'm on season 3. And, Neos kind of sucks. But I like a lot of Jaden's character traits. I feel like he's kind of down to throw away his life for a duel. And, I love that and I hate that. Psytro asks, if I had 2 pieces of lasagna and you put one on top of the other, is that one big piece or 2 separate pieces? I think it's one piece. One piece. Freakish Fresh, when's the album coming? Subscribe and stay tuned. Vintex Grime asks, is Mars actually the best player in the world? Yeah, have you seen his YouTube? Simi asks, what's my reason that I play ult? It's fun. It's fun. I like the people there. A lot of my good friends play it, but most importantly, it's just enjoyable to play. Smash is hella fun. Ethano asks, did I struggle to find logos to go to when I first started my Smash career, or were they pretty abundant? My local scene for Smash was in Hawaii, and we had one monthly that was about an hour to an hour and a half bus ride away from me, which isn't crazy far, but it was really a lot more of being able to play with my friends and being able to play with people locally instead of going straight to the tournament scene and seeing how I could improve with that. Tyrani asks, would I rather drink soda or water for the rest of your life? Easy, water. Easy. Lol Jacob asks, is about to pick a game to replay, which I felt like the first time again. What game would it be? I say this a lot, I'll say it again. Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild on the first playthrough felt magical, and I really wish that I could go back to that. Cry Me asks, will we ever see Pichu again in full swing? Sadly not. I don't think Pichu's place in the meta is good, and I think even the matchups that I would use Pichu for prior feel very inconsistent. Moose asks, if I could have any animal as a pet and it would be domesticated, which would it be and why? Antimony asks, what is your favorite number? Any reason? I like 17, 3, and 1234. Haikyuu asks, how do you look past comments that try to downplay your character? See those things quite frequently and you're curious how I deal with it? I got to a point on the internet where I realized people just say things to say things, even if they don't really mean it. So I kind of just, sometimes if I feel really bad about my character and somebody says it, I kind of don't want to face it and it makes me feel bad. But at the end of the day, I have my feelings about my character. My character can do some things and can't do some things, and that's just the way it is. I try not to let it get to me too much. But if it does, I just vent to my friends. Just get it out, Surf asks, have you ever thought that competing or playing the game was unenjoyable? So how do I go about making it more fun? There's been a few times where competing has been really not fun for me. Especially, I'm a very nervous player, so there's times where it, actually is not fun. But at the end of the day, I tell myself, I wouldn't be doing this or I wouldn't have chosen to do this if I didn't enjoy it. And that's not always the case. It can change for you, but I always just try to find the fun when it comes to playing games. And I feel like Smash helps me out a lot in that regard. Eugene asks, favorite top player to play against? I like playing against the NE kids, Mars and Light. It's usually very explosive gameplay. It's really fast-paced, and it's very scrambly. You can kind of tell from like my set with Mars at Summit, both of them, I would say. Like it's just really enjoyable to play in that atmosphere for me. Brandon B asks, if I wasn't into competitive Smash, then what would I be doing? Fun fact, a little bit of Void history. I was gonna try to go pro in League of Legends, but I kind of fell a little bit short, and after that I decided I was gonna stop trying to go pro in League and go pro in Smash. So if I hadn't made that decision, I would probably be playing Pro League. I also have full faith that I would have been able to make it too. So definitely I'd be playing Pro League, League gets the bag, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Salasky Aldo says, what would I say is my favorite part about meeting people? It's kind of weird. I think a lot of people are a lot cooler than they think they are. There's so many different personality traits and like ways people react, ways people think. And like I just like trying to understand and learn who that person is, and sometimes they end up becoming some of my best friends. You never really know when it comes to meeting people. It's a whole new unexplored area. Don Flamingo asks, what character in ult do you think is the most underrated? I think Me Brawler is the most underrated. I think that character is ridiculous. Maybe not like super crazy ridiculous, but that character should have a lot more representation than they do. Like, way more. What's my favorite haikyuu moment? I would probably say the really high receive moment. I'm not going to go super into it, but essentially the meaning is, when things are getting frustrating or like really stressful, don't be afraid to take it slow. Give yourself time to breathe and, reset. You don't have to go at the pace of like, wow, things are frustrating and I need to keep doing things. Sometimes you do have the liberty to just take a step back and be like, okay, now I'm ready to do this. And that's kind of what like the high receive moment was for me. So that's my favorite moment. How does content creation play into being a top player for me? Do I have any goals with creating content outside growth on my main platforms? For a lot of people, if like we didn't initially start with the idea of creating content, it's kind of just like, hey, we play the game and we're really good, so we kind of have a platform. But for me, I feel like I'm at a point with content creation where I do have a really clear goal in mind that I want to be able to take my content like to a lot of places. So I'm not just trying to be a content creator for like, hey guys, I'm a top player and I have these numbers, woohoo. No, I have a very good idea about where I want to take my content, and growth is kind of like secondhand, which I think is hella cool. What would I be doing if I wasn't playing any games? I would be one of two things. One of these things don't pay well, one of them do, and this is from Rena. I would want to be a teacher, because I feel like a lot of my teachers in my life they've taught me a lot. They've been like really good role models for me, and I'd like to do that for some of the younger people in the world. And two, I would be an engineer, because I really just like physics. I like the idea. It's something that I can dive into and really learn, because I like learning a lot. So physics always like helped me like stay entertained. I'm like, wow, this is cool. So I would be an engineer much more for the bag, but also because I think it's really interesting. Or I'd be a teacher because it feels like a really strong passion of mine. One of those two things. Hanko asked, was there anything I didn't like about Summit this year? I didn't like that I got 5th. I wish I lost to better players, because all the players I lost to lost immediately, and I'm still upset about it, because I could have done better than them. Raven King says, I remember at Smash Time you mentioned how people don't work hard enough. Do I know the reason people don't work hard enough? And what solutions could people be implementing? I have an idea. And I think people are working hard, but they're not working smart. I think a lot of players are like kind of stubborn in the sense that they don't take a lot of the easy ways to learn things. So the way I phrase this is, if you're trying to learn something, you can always watch a top player to learn it. They've already done the homework for you. All you have to do is copy the answers. And I feel like a lot of people try not to like copy the answers because they want to like do it on their own. But no matter what, there's going to be a point where you have to do things on your own. But sometimes people go for like a lot more complicated answers when like simpler solutions are there. But the main thing, I just don't think people know how to do that. I think a lot of people understand learning on their own a lot better, or learning from like people like immediately, but learning from a video of a player playing is actually one of the like biggest pluses that I think a lot of people don't use. So instead they work harder instead of working a little smarter. Paco asks, is it true that most top players hide their secrets? I don't think so, unless I'm also getting these secrets hidden from me, you other top players, you. I don't really hide much because I want players to just play at their best. I don't like too many gimmicky answers, because I know it'll get, like, for lack of better words, power crept eventually. So I just like being stronger as an overall player instead of being like strong as an overall player with like some tricks that'll work sometimes and doesn't work sometimes. You know, that's just me. Zaire asks, what do you do when you want to improve how you think about the game? One thing that you really need to do is you need to catch your thought patterns like as they're happening. Like you need to make sure they don't go away. A great example, there was a time where I was practicing like kind of recently, and I was doing really good against my opponent, and like, so let's say I won like 18 in a row, and there was a moment where I was just destroying them this game, and I thought to myself, yo, like calm down, like you're kind of destroying them. And I was immediately like, no, like if I'm trying to practice, I can't be having that thought process. And you know, there's a lot of good instances about this in terms of like gameplay. Like maybe it's like, oh hey, you know, like I have a really big lead, let's just throw out an F smash. Like you have to catch those thought processes and like actively try to change them. That's the best thing I can phrase. Hopefully I answered the question well. Beast Mode asks, what was my approach mentally on how I was going to compete at Summit? Honestly, it was kind of different than usual. My general idea was, don't be afraid to dance. Don't be afraid to like show my stuff and have fun. Because at the end of the day, like I was and am currently in a state where I really enjoy playing, especially like in bracket. So I just wanted to not psych myself out. I just wanted to show the world what I could do, and that's kind of what I did. That's all there is to it. Obscured Raven asks, favorite brand of energy drinks? What flavor in particular? Amp, and I think it's the regular one, just the green one. Favorite energy drink. Would the buzz suck on Olimar's nose? Salos? Yes. Paid on Champ asks, if I had to play anyone but Sheik and Pichu, who would it be? Joker and Aegis. They're literally like the next characters on the list. And then I want to really work on a Sephiroth lately, because I don't play any Final Fantasy characters, but I love Final Fantasy, so it just doesn't make sense to me that that's the case. So I really want to work on a Sephiroth. What was the reason I didn't pursue Joker long-term? Xmas, the reason for that was there were certain like areas, like playing Joker is pretty hard. You have to commit really hard. I ended up getting 17th at SmashCon, and I was gonna work on a Joker for majority of 2020. When I went to Japan, all I practiced was Joker and pre-nerf Palutena, but we don't talk about that. So I really wanted to use Joker moving forward. It's just quarantine happened, and you know, like I just didn't really want to practice Joker online. And I know I practice Sheik, but I swear Sheik is easier online than Joker. So Isaac asks, favorite bracket set I've ever played in any Smash game? But I really don't know. So what's my favorite thing to do when I'm not streaming or playing games? This is a hard one, because if I'm not streaming or playing games, I'm probably sleeping. I really enjoy playing games, so there's not really an alternative most of the time. Static asks, what's going through my mind before heading into a big tournament set? The main things for me are, you know, what do I need to work on in the set, what things do I have to look out for, kind of just like general matchup stuff. But if I'm psyching myself out a lot, one of the biggest things I tell myself is, you know what, like, you're really nervous right now. In 5 minutes, the set's gonna start, and in 25 to 30 minutes, the set's gonna be over. No matter what, that's just like how the flow of time is gonna work, and you just have to make sure when that time ends, when the 30 minutes pass, you know, hopefully you can look back and say like, good job. So that's kind of like the main thing that I tell myself, like, no matter what I do, no matter how I feel, the set is happening. So let's do it. JR asked, what has been the biggest lesson I've learned over quarantine, Smash-wise or real life-wise? Real life-wise, it's been take care of yourself and, you know, take care of the people who mean something to you. I'm really bad at messaging people, so I've taken a lot of quarantine to try to let people know, like, hey, you know, I'm thinking about you, I care about you, and just send a message here and there. And I'm still pretty bad at it, but I've kind of learned the value in that. Instead of just being like, hey, I'm a bad messenger, it's like, hey, I'm a bad messenger, but I'm trying, you know? And I think that is a very big difference. And Smash-wise, it's been... This is gonna sound really dumb. Sometimes you just gotta smash stack. Like, sometimes I just play really, really solid, like, so frequently, and I'm like, dude, because I'm trying to play solid, I'm not looking for these random potential win cons, which could just be a smash stack in the right situation. So I've been doing those more. It's my Wendy's order. I just get a 4 for 4. Something simple. And Kiki, I wish there was more aspects of my life I could share to the public without having to worry about what dangers might threaten me or people I know, or how people might react to it. A little. I kind of just keep a lot more of my life private nowadays, and I don't really wish I could share everything. But there are some things where I'm like, you know, I wish I didn't have to worry so much about this and that. Like even something as simple as like, hey, this is what my house looks like, you know, stuff like that. All right, that kind of wraps it up. I think there's a lot of content here, so it was kind of fun. I think I'll do more of these, maybe as like a weekly thing, if it's something that people do enjoy. So you know what to do. Let me know in the comments. 1, if you liked it. 2, maybe like if you liked certain answers. And 3, most importantly, if you could subscribe and help out the channel, I appreciate that a lot. We're almost at the big 100K, so let's get it. See you guys in the next video. Peace.